With the liners mounted and kept in place by all the hold downs, I installed the front engine plate. I don't know why I decided this was the right moment, but anyways, it had to go in at some point. So I did that quickly, and then I started measuring the end gap of each piston ring. These are brand new piston rings, brand new liners, but still the end gap needs to be checked for each ring. I can't stress enough how important is that, because if the gap is too small, when you start your engine and the rings expand from the heat, there's a high possibility that they will get broken, and you know how many damages will follow from that. On the other side, if the gap is too big, the compression is going to be low and there's no point of rebuilding our engine. So how do we do that? We just put the ring inside the cylinder, and with the filler gauge we check the end gap. On mine, most of the gaps were around 9 thousandths of an inch, but they need to be minimum 10 thousandths of an inch. So I filed a little bit most of the rings, checked them again, and they looked perfect. Once a ring was fitted into a cylinder, they were coupled and they couldn't split anymore. So I dedicated first, second and third ring for each cylinder, and I put them on a piece of cardboard so I don't mix them up anymore. And when I was assembling them later, everything was going into the same order as dedicated already. Time to start assembling the connecting rods with the pistons, installing the rings, and I'm gonna take you through the procedure. So first of all, we have to make sure that the oil passage on the connecting rod is clean, because that's really important. Sometimes there are debris inside, and so when you blow from here, you have to make sure that the air is coming out from there, but also there are two little, very teeny tiny holes here that we feel air coming from there too. Then I'm gonna wipe I'm gonna put a little bit of oil here. Thank you. And install the bearing. The bearing has one little notch here that needs to line up with here with the notch, otherwise you can't install it anywhere. And same thing here, when you line this notch with this notch, then this hole lines with the hole on the rod and the oil can travel. So for the piston, I'm gonna make sure that the pin can go easily here, yeah. I'm gonna put some oil here too, just in case. This is how I'm gonna put it. And just slide it in. Okay. This can be put with this too. I figured that I can even put it by hand, and you have to make sure it clicks. The best way to test it, if it's in the groove, is by trying to spin it. If it spins freely inside, this means that it is in the groove. And we'll do the same on the other side. Spins freely, so it's where it's supposed to be. Now start installing the rings. So how do we do that? Put one end inside and okay, but now I don't want it inside still, I want it a little bit later there, because first we're going to put this one. Now whoever rebuilt the other engine before, the one that I don't want to touch, overlapped these two ends because he thought the ring was too long. Well, that's a big mistake. These two colors are here just so you can see at any time if this didn't accidentally overlap. So after you're done, you have to make sure that you see both these green and red colors. If you see only one of them, this means that you overlapped the ring and your engine is going to burn oil. So this goes in the groove, and this is the tricky part. Make sure they don't overlap, and then put one end of the retainer to hold them down. So now they cannot overlap anymore, and now I can deal with the rest. So here I just pull the retainer out a little bit, and let it go. So now it is holding. So now we have to put the second one. Make sure this one is still not overlapping. And that's it. Now they're not overlapped, and we have the oil ring installed. So now we have to put the second ring. Very careful. Follow the sign where it says stop, or sometimes it has a little dot or something. It has to go on top, obviously. Later I'm going to stagger the gaps. Like one gap needs to be here, on the others, on the second ring, for example, it needs to be here, and on the third somewhere here. So it's so they don't line up and let the compression and the oil go. And the third one, again, the top sign needs to go on top, and put one end inside. And slowly drive it into the groove. And these are brand new pistons and rings, so the clearance should be okay, but just to make sure that everything is fine. So the clearance between the ring and the groove needs to be 1/1000th of an inch to 3/1000th of an inch. So I have here 2/1000ths of an inch. No, doesn't want to go in. The 10/15ths of an inch barely fits inside. Yeah, so that's good. I bought this ring compressor. Let's see if I will be able to use it and do a good job with it. I took a clean rag and cleaned carefully the crank pin. Cleaned also the actual cylinder inside. So we take piston number 1, make sure it's nice and clean. Put some masking tape here to protect the cylinders from scratching them. The crank pin is all the way down on the bottom
dead center, so this doesn't reach it yet. Oil everything. I hate when my hands are oily, but what can I do? Make sure that the whole cylinder is oily. Okay, good. Now I'm gonna stagger them again. So we say the oil rings is gonna point back, which is here, back. One of the compression rings gonna point there, and one here. 120 degree. Now I'm gonna drop it a little bit. Drop it in halfway. I'm gonna put my screwdriver through the pin, and here I'm gonna try to install the ring compressor. I'm gonna put some oil in it too.
I tightened the ring compressor around the piston, and then with the rubber hammer I tapped it at the top to align the ends. Of course I removed the screwdriver before that. And then very gently I drove the piston inside the cylinder by tapping it with the handle of the hammer, and I was ready to stop if I feel any resistance, but there was absolutely no problem.
Now somehow I have to get rid of the tape, the masking tape. Now before I put the cap, I'm gonna fill the connecting rod with oil through the hole on the ring. Please. It's very important when you assemble it to put oil everywhere, because if you don't, the first couple of turns, first couple of 100 turns on the engine, everything is gonna be dry, and I don't wanna think what can happen. So all the parts put a lot of oil. Okay. Now I can put this cap on. It can go only one way, it cannot go the other way, so you shouldn't worry about that. You should worry about oil again, so put oil. Everything is fine, so now I'm gonna check the book. 55-60 foot-pounds for the connecting rod caps. 55.
The same way I installed the second, the third and the fourth cylinders. I didn't forget to bend the corners of the top washers. And when all the pistons were in and all the connecting rod caps torqued, I made sure that everything still turns nice and free, which it did.
Okay, the pistons are in, and we're ready to move to the next step, which is the timing mechanism.
First I had to oil and install the front cam bearing. It has a cut on one side, which is for this bolt, which holds the plate in place. The camshaft was a little bit too far in, so I had to pull it out.
This dot, this is the mark for the timing. I'm surprised the sprocket doesn't have any marks on it. I'm gonna tighten it now temporary, but I'm gonna have to take it out later to put the chain. I wanna install it temporary here so I can check the alignment with the crank timing gear. Okay, these are the old ones, the old shims for the timing gear for the crankshaft, and each of them was 5 thousandths of an inch. So I had a total of 15 thousandths of an inch. Now the ones that I bought are 2 times 6 thousandths of an inch. That's gonna be 12 thousandths of an inch, and before I had 15 thousandths of an inch, but I don't know, let's see if this is gonna work. I have a new woodroof key here. The beveled part needs to go towards the engine. And now with the straight edge, I'm gonna check the alignment of the two gears. It looks perfect to me.
Luckily I didn't need any more shims and I was ready to install the chain.
Now the two marks have to face each other.
One mark is the woodroof key on the crankshaft and the other mark is the actual mark on the camshaft, and they're so far away from each other that it is very easy to make a mistake with one tooth on one side or the other, so I was worried all the time about that.
Alright guys, this is the 5 years older Elin speaking here. So if you notice the message in the beginning of this video, it said that I had to re-upload this video 5 years later because YouTube managed to screw up the file, but actually that gives me the opportunity now to interrupt this stupid Elin who didn't know what he was doing with the timing here and made a mistake. So I'm not going to show you the rest of how I installed the gears here because it was totally wrong, and you can see that in the next few episodes where I actually realized that this was a huge mistake that I made and I had to redo the timing as the engine was already in the car, and of course after I realized that it wasn't starting. So I'm going to put a link here to the video in which I actually did the timing correctly, so you can follow that link and do your timing now, and then you can continue watching this series because there's a few more details about the oil pump and about the distributor driving gear and stuff like that that you might find useful to complete your engine rebuild.
Perfect. Now I'm happy and I can install the gear permanently with the tap washer and bend the little corner. Well, that's it for today guys. I'll see you pretty soon in my next video.